When you allow our people to drum, this is our history, these are our roots. And as they go out to the Caribbean, these are the sounds. We don't get to hear them often. So this was important that we brought the Bajiles, African derived musical genre that really talks to the broader part of the Americas, the real Americas, right? It talks about our people. And so, you know, it was an honor to be here and to support, and in honor of Fidel Castro from Atlanta. So thank you, and we'll be back later on in the evening to do our cultural bomba dance with our music. Thank you so much.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Good evening, everyone.
Can you hear me? You look beautiful. It's wonderful to see so many people come out to pay homage to our dear brother, Fidel Castro. New York is a special place, and it was a special place for our brother Fidel, and so we're honored to be here. My name is Gail Walker, and I am with I want to thank Dr. Trump and BombaYo, who I know will be, and his compañeros for bringing us into this space in such a powerful and significant way. There's nothing like the drum. There's nothing like the drum, am I right? There's nothing like the sound of the drum to bring us together. So thank you for getting us started. So we're going to have to shift a little bit. You can imagine with trying to pull together a program of this magnitude, we've got some people that are here, some people that have been tied up in transit, but we're all here to celebrate the life and the legacy of our dear brother Fidel Castro. And so we're looking forward to an exciting evening of celebration. I want to express our gratitude. I'm here with my dear brother Malcolm X of the Venceremos Brigade as co-moderator. And we're going to help to try to facilitate tonight's activities. We're honored that our friends here at the Malcolm X Betty Shabazz Center have opened their doors for this historic event. This is history, people. It is most fitting that we're here in this historic place, which in so many ways represents hallowed ground. For those of us who have followed the footsteps of giants like Malcolm X and so many others who have taught us what it truly means to stand for justice and to confront the empire. Undoubtedly, Fidel served as the bedrock of the world's greatest and longest socialist revolution. In addition to standing firm for his people in the face of the U.S. empire's aggression, Fidel's unwavering expression of solidarity has benefited countless people across the globe, from Central America and Latin America, from Asia to Africa and beyond. Indeed, under the bold leadership of Fidel, we saw no limit to Cuba's support of the least powerful in our world, ranging from support of numerous African nations in their fight for sovereignty and against the racist apartheid regime, to the people of the Ukraine following the nuclear tragedy in Chernobyl, to support of those who fought to recover from natural disasters such as hurricanes in Nicaragua and Honduras and Guatemala, to the 2004 tsunami that struck Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, and the 2010 earthquake that devastated Haiti, and of course, most recently, who can forget Cuba's brave fight against Ebola in Western Africa. Fidel's spirit and example continues to live on. When we remember his tenacious fighting spirit, when we proudly recall that he led a revolution that succeeded against the odds in toppling the pro-Washington dictator Fulgencio Batista, right? When we celebrate the graduation and the accomplishment of each graduate of the Latin American School of Medicine, when we witness the bold courage of a Cuban child. Anybody who's ever traveled to Cuba knows exactly what I'm talking about, that bold and beautiful pride with which a Cuban child possesses and it shows itself. It's all of these things that help us to realize that Fidel's spirit lives on. Long live Fidel Castro. So indeed, it's our privilege to welcome you here tonight. I'm going to pass the mic to my brother, Fidel. Malcolm.
Just the beard.
Just the beard.
Good evening. Again, I'm Malcolm X of the Venceremos Brigade. Thank you, Gail, for the introduction. Thank you for your words. Thank you to everybody who's here tonight, to the performers, to the speakers, to the folks who make up the New York and New Jersey Cuba C Coalition who have helped to make this event happen. I'm really honored, really humbled to be here with you all tonight celebrating the life of Fidel. I hope I can speak for everybody here when I say that Fidel was and is and will always be a very special person to all of us. A real, true example of revolutionary leadership, of love for oppressed people around the world. The historic guide of the Cuban Revolution, and in many ways he'll continue to be a source of inspiration and guidance for the Cuban Socialist Project, which, contrary to the hopes and attempts and desires of the ruling classes here and everywhere else, continues strong to this day. So as Gail said, we've got an excellent program planned for tonight, an evening full of love for El Comandante. And before we get started, we want to extend our solidarity and greetings. We want to recognize some of the folks that are here, in some cases representing people from all over the world. We know that here in the US, in the belly of the beast, the media likes to say that Cuba is isolated from the international community, that this recent opening by the US government is like the first time that Cuba is being exposed to the world. And we know that's not true. And we've got evidence of that here tonight in terms of the people who have come out to support.
That's right. So before we get started, we want to acknowledge some of our special guests that have joined us this evening. We have the ambassador from Vietnam, Ambassador Nha. Thank you, Ambassador, for being here and your comrade with you. We really do appreciate that. We also have Arnaldo Baron. Baron. No, it's not here? Right yet? I'm sorry. For those of you who don't know, he's best known as the leader of the July 26 coalition in the United States. Senor Baron was awarded Cuba's Medal of Friendship by Ricardo Alarcón, the former president of the Cuban Parliament, on behalf of the Cuban Council of State, for his long-standing struggle in the defense of the revolution before and after 1959. So we're grateful to have you here with us, Senor.
Not everyone on this list is here, but they've expressed their solidarity, so we're going to continue through this list. We have Ruby Sprott, a lay leader at the Riverside Church, and a true fighter for social justice. There she is. Ruby has traveled to Cuba numerous times with Riverside Church and with IFCO's U.S.-Cuba Friendship and Caravans. She heads Riverside South African and Cuba Ministries. Thank you for being here. Also, formerly of Riverside Church, we have Dr. James Forbes, the former senior minister there. Importantly, and we'll see a little bit of this tonight, he was the host of Fidel's historic visit to Riverside Church the last time he was in the U.S. in the year 2000.
Thank you so much, Dr. Forbes and Ruby. It's wonderful to have Riverside in the house. We also want to welcome Imam Mikael Abdus Samad, who is a longtime member of the Mosque of the Islamic Brotherhood. Is the Imam Mikael with us? There we go. Thank you. He comes representing the mosque as well as Imam Al-Hajj Talib Abdur Shahid. So I apologize, but thank you so much for being with us, sir. And my dear brother, Daoud Andre, ¿dónde estás? Daoud Andre. Daoud Andre. That's right. Many of you know Daoud. Daoud is from the Eritrea Papa Dasalin, which organizes weekly Haitian community forums and a radio show, which connects the struggles of Haitian people throughout the world, including Haiti, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and the United States, among other things. But we're grateful to have Brother Daoud here in the house.
We also want to recognize Bob Gail, Vice President of Modesty, another leading voice for many years in the Cuba Solidarity Movement and the movement for free travel.
Leader of the International Concerned Family and Friends of BombaYo Afro-Boricua. You know, the problem with beginning to pronounce people is that you always forget people. There are many different people in this world who have been strong and avid fighters in Cuba's fight. And how's that? Better? All right. I was just saying the problem with starting to name people is that you always leave somebody off. But we welcome all of you here, young and not so young, and with all stripes and colors. We appreciate your being here, recognizing Cuba, supporting Cuba now and forever. So welcome, 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 and thank you for coming out this evening.
One more thing to mention before we get into it. We want to just give a special thanks to WBAI for the continuing support throughout the years. And to thank our brother Mickey Melendez, who couldn't be here tonight due to some health issues, but has contributed importantly to this program, as well as Dr. Rosemary Mealy, educator, author, activist, long-time leading light in the Cuba Solidarity Movement. She has also contributed to this program in important ways, even though she's not able to be here.
All right, so thank you, Malcolm, and thank you, all of you, for being here. We would like to now ask our dear brother, Zayid Muhammad, to come forward. Zayid. Against all odds, coming from New Jersey, that Penn Station, that train. Well, we love Zayid.
Que viva Fidel, que viva! And I say Ibaye, y'all know what to say, right? Oh my goodness, wait a minute. This is Malcolm's house, the house that Betty built. And I say Ibaye, what y'all say? All right, let's go to work. The 4 directions for the north, the south, the east, and the west, we say Ibaye. 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 For the ancestor whose name this building stands, who stood tall and dared to stand with this great struggle and solidarity when few would. For Malcolm, the one who taught us how to walk and stand tall, we say Ibaye. Ibaye. For a screen who resurrected this space so we can rally and continue to rally and carry on a tradition. For Betty Shabazz, we say Ashe. Ashe. Some of the great revolutionaries of this neighborhood did great work. The great Carlos Cooks on the shoulders of Marcus Garvey. And Garvey, we say Ibaye. Ibaye. Don Pedro Albizu Campos, right here, worked in this hood hard. We say Ibaye. 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 And some of the ancestors of the long struggle for independence and revolution in Cuba itself. For Marti, the father of Cuban nationalism and independence, we say Ibaye. Maceo, the bronze titan, we say Ibaye. Mariana, the grandmother of it all, we say Ibaye. Che, the Che, he's going to be reunited with Che, we say Ibaye. So for the north, the south, the east, and the west, we say Ibaye. 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 I say, oh, it is done. Let's go to work.
Thank you, Zayid, for opening us up in that way. So, first thing on the program, we regret that the representatives of South Africa, Namibia, and Angola are not able to join us this evening. But we have, thankfully, some video of them to share. Thanks to the work of our talented video editors, Jennifer Wager and Sally O'Brien. We have a video collection of statements from the representatives of these countries that were delivered during a United Nations tribute in December. So, enjoy.
On behalf of the people and government of Angola, in this ceremony, in memory of the late President Fidel Castro. It was Fidel who decisively contributed to the consolidation of the independence of Angola when the country was faced with an invasion by the highly armed military apartheid South African racist regime. Some thousands of Angolans were trained at the Cuban schools, universities, and maybe more important, when the Cienfuegos contingent were dispatched to Angola to fill a dramatic shortage of teachers for secondary education in the years immediately following the proclamation of independence. Many Angolans would have lost their lives for lack of medical assistance, if not for the timely dispatch of specialists willing to work in the most remote corners of the extensive territory of Angola.
What is the price of freedom? What is the cost of liberating a nation? How much do you pay a country which fought for you when others were allies of your enemy?
The solidarity forged in the trenches of the battlefields of southern Angola by Cuban internationalists is a solidarity for which Namibia shall always be indebted. On 4 May 1978, an attack took place on a refugee camp at Kasinga in Angola, 2 days after the United Nations Security Council had discussed the situation there. This aggression resulted not only in the deaths of over 1,000 Namibians that day, and also of Cuban soldiers who were en route to assist the camp. This incident resulted in an immediate response by only one country, the Republic of Cuba, and by only one world leader, in the person of Fidel Castro. He ordered that the children who survived would be brought to Cuba where schools would be set up for them. Other Namibian children later joined them. So it was that 2 schools were set up on the island of youth in Cuba for Namibian children to study. This story is told and retold in our country. Many of these children have gone on to be leaders in Namibia, from doctors and geologists to economists and teachers. We further remember the Battle of Puerto Rican, in which Cuban soldiers also gave their lives, and which led to the implementation of and successful elections of independence, of which Namibia is so proud, that the blood of the Cuban fighters indeed waters our freedom, something which we can never forget. To us, a cedar, the mightiest of trees, has fallen. We take solace in the fact that his outstanding legacy as a selfless leader and defender of liberty and fighter for justice and independence will continue to inspire the human race for generations to come. Fidel is indeed a hero.
We are honored to represent the government and the people of South Africa. As you join Cuban people in President of the Republic of Cuba and the leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro rules. Madam Chairperson, one of the greatest leaders and giants of our times lives no more. For over a half century, the lives of freedom fighters in Africa, Asia, and Americas were enriched by intellectual astuteness of Fidel Castro that helped them to sharpen their strategies and tactics. We oftentimes use the ones who are ahead of us or have gone before us in this journey of life as a compass to guide our steps and a mirror to measure our worth to the course we have embarked on. For us in South Africa, Fidel Castro is on such compass that we who have been fighting for what United Nations labeled a crime against humanity, apartheid, have used as a guide for the commitment to the cause of liberation, activism, and solidarity. We say this, Madam President, because we are a witness to this selflessness and internationalism in his and the Cuban people's contribution to our struggle against apartheid and in the cause of liberation in Africa as a whole. We say Fidel Castro and the people of Cuba are an embodiment of internationalism because we witnesses their commitment to the liberation of Africa. And when then, at the battles of Puerto Rican in 1987 and 1988, and they lost their life fighting for the freedom of people of Angola, Namibia, and South Africa. And they stopped the then huge apartheid fighting machine from moving deep into Angola and throwing them back into apartheid South Africa to make sure that the train of freedom that was going southwards should not stop. And that is why we're standing here today, Madam Chairperson. Cuba was not looking for gold, diamonds, and oil in Africa. The Cubans only wanted to see freedom and end the treatment of Africa as a playground of powerful nations white It is indicative of the caliber of the present Fidel was, in particular, and the Cuban people in general, that they gave of themselves despite the negative effects of economic embargo. Madam Chairperson, better testimony of Fidel Castro and the Cuban people upliftment of the African adage, I am because we are, can be seen through the medical training program between Cuba and various African countries, including South Africa. That has benefited hundreds of doctors from the poor families and background and with that training in Cuba. Since the program of inception, over 2,000 otherwise poor black children from South Africa have received medical benefits in Cuba. The most pregnant lesson for Fidel Castro's life in particular, for Cuban people in general, is the value of solidarity. South Africa will never forget Fidel Castro and his unshaken anti-colonial and anti-imperial beliefs and works. He was a great friend and ally to the Libation movement and the people of South Africa. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
So, we're grateful to those words of the ambassadors from the various Southern African countries, and while they couldn't be here with us, we're grateful that we've got these inspiring comments. Many of us who had the opportunity to be in the United Nations when the UN paid homage to Fidel Castro, it was really quite a remarkable occasion. I'm going to ask you all for my forgiveness, to forgive me. We have with us a very special guest who I failed to acknowledge when we first began, and I want to ask our ambassador, because we're claiming her, Cuba's new ambassador to the United Nations, who we're going to hear from later, to please stand. Please help me welcome the Honorable Ana Yancy Rodriguez Camejo. Knowing that you I told you New York is kind of special. And we're grateful to have not only the mission, but the mission staff. All of you who are here representing the mission, we'd like to just ask you all to please stand and recognize our family from the Cuban mission. What a beautiful sight for you all to make your way uptown to be with us tonight means the world. So thank you so much for coming out and for being here. We are very appreciative and grateful. We want to now move on with our program. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of Fidel Castro's legacy was the establishment of the Latin America School of Medicine, known by its Spanish acronym as ELAM. Indeed, ELAM, a naval base that was converted into an institute of medical training, represents a hugely significant part of Fidel's living legacy. As I often refer to it as a generous gift that keeps on giving. Many of us will recall with great pride when Fidel addressed an overflow crowd in New York City at the historic Riverside Church in September 2000. Reverend James Forbes was there. Ruby Sprott was there. And a lot of you in this room were there. And we heard him offer free medical school scholarships to qualified candidates from all regions of the United States. Right? From low-income communities and communities of color who would not otherwise have access to medical education. The only obligation of scholarship recipients is to return and practice in medically underserved communities in the US. Please join us now in welcoming one of the 145 US graduates of ELAM, currently working as a pulmonary fellow at Jamaica Hospital, Dr. Joaquin Morante.
Good evening. Brother. I look at this picture of Malcolm and Fidel, and it's what guided me in my youth. It's very nice to see. Anyway, in 1998, just a quick brief history. I know Gail already got to it. 1998, Hurricane George, Hurricane Mitch affects the Caribbean and Central America, and Cuba does what Cuba does. It sends out doctors to take care of people, people in need. And in that time is where El Comandante Fidel Castro comes up with this brilliant idea to not just give people fish, but to teach them how to fish. So in the span of 1 year, this is how amazing things are, because you took a look at a timeline. 1998, this happens by March 1999, Cuba is already training doctors from Central America. In 1 year, he had set up what used to be a naval base into a medical school, an international medical school. That's just amazing. That is just amazing. So now we have over 180 countries that have sent their students to be trained in Cuba. And as of 2000, and since 2005, at least 28,000 graduates that I have, that I was told of. So ELAM is a product of visionary thinking. And it is more important now than ever. As we grapple with how to care for the poor here in our country, Cuba has offered us an example of how to develop a healthcare infrastructure that cares for the basic needs of its population. At this time, when our own country is estimated to have 26 million uninsured, when the president is actively, not my president, but this president is actively pursuing how to roll back an admittedly imperfect solution to expand coverage to its population, we can see the genius in Fidel Castro's vision. As I look at the great difficulties that we have in constructing a system that puts its citizens first, I stand amazed at what Fidel Castro's guiding hand was able to produce, or is able to produce. In the time that I was in ELAM, I was changed. I was changed because Fidel gave us, something very important. He gave this brother, born in East Harlem, raised in New York City, an opportunity to train side by side with international comrades, with Brazilians, with Argentinians, Uruguayans, Chileans, Mexicans, Nicaraguenses, Hondureños, all of Central and Latin America, with Africa, with Southeast Asia, and change my perspective of what I was going to be as a professional. So what he gave us is something that now we owe to our people. He taught us how to be better human beings, to take care of other human beings. Currently, US graduates now practice in family medicine, internal medicine, emergency medicine, HIV/AIDS, and even healthcare administration. That's just where we're going, to infiltrate a system and make it built and produce a goal of taking care of other human beings without this belief that we're gonna get rich, without the belief of I need to be a dermatologist to pay off my $500,000 in loans. He gave me, and he has given my compañeros and compañeras a gift to be better revolutionary doctors. And revolutionary, I mean to change the way we think as healthcare practitioners. So in this academic year, we have 29 new graduates with 10 prospective graduates going down also. And as we turn it out, we will continue to turn the system upside down. And I only mean that in the sense of we will continue to put people first, our community first, the well-being and the health of our neighbors first, because Fidel Castro gave me that. So, Fidel Castro, el comandante Fidel Castro, presente.
Thank you, Dr. Morante. I want to ask, I know there's at least one, but I want to ask if there are any other graduates of ELAM in the audience. Damien? Excellent. Damian Suarez here. And I want to ask our sisters, Daisy, Brigade. Excellent. Indeed, that's great.
All right, a couple of more pieces of information. This event is being live streamed. So for anybody who can't be here right now, for the people who are here in the audience, to share this information if you can, if there are folks who you know wanted to come and couldn't, at picturethestruggle.org. So thank you to the folks working hard on all the audio and video sides of this, all the technical sides of this to make this happen. And one more thing, another guest we want to recognize and honor who's just arrived is former political prisoner, Sekou Odinga of the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army is here with us tonight. Honored to have you. Next up, we saw in the video and we know well the special connection of the Southern African nations to Cuba, to the Cuban people, to Fidel, because of the support that the revolution offered to the national liberation struggles there and to the struggle against apartheid. And so next we have a poetic tribute written by a South African named Zenzile Khoisan. It will be read by our sister Sala Cyril. She's a member of the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, the executive director of Little Maroons, a parent-supported childcare co-op in Brooklyn that offers an African-centered curriculum rooted in indigenous wisdom. She's going to be reading the poem for us.
Hasta la victoria siempre. Farewell, Comandante Fidel. That's the name of the poem. By Zenzile Khoisan. A giant has fallen. Indeed, a blazing light of progress has raced through the stratosphere. A most exceptional symbol of humanity's finest attributes has taken leave of a planet in distress, left bereft by the passing of its most humble, dedicated servant. Hasta la victoria siempre. Hasten the dawn of victory is the call of all the damned, the disconsolate, the downtrodden who found a guiding light in Fidel, comandante of the poor, compadre to all the warriors who rise against the oligarch, the militarists, the robber barons, the gusanos who have no mother, no motherland, no love for the people of no property. Comandante Fidel Castro Ruz, presente. You are here, the work of your hands visible everywhere. The remarkable legacy of sacrifice. The remarkable legacy of sacrifice and service across your revolutionary aisle, where you carved a path of dignity for sugarcane cutters, lifted the rod against the charlatans who terrorized the peasants, burned down the temples of elites, cut sugarcane with your own hands, never betrayed the ideals, the freedom quest that ignited revolutions worldwide. Gail Segure, go well, commander of the international campaign against the money changers, the ruthless exploiters that mortgaged the sweat of factory workers, broke the back of miners, denied education to the children of campesinos, turned the planet into a giant gambling house of speculation, the fiction that imperialism is invincible. Fidel, you who penned a love letter to the world, inspired thousands and thousands of your vibrant countrymen and women to race into the headwinds without hesitation, to face the challenge in Venezuela, Peru, Vietnam, Ethiopia, Tunisia, Congo, Angola, East Timor, where whenever humanity called, Cuba answered. With its dedicated doctors, its witty dancing diplomats, its teachers, engineers, and its warriors. The determined soldiers nurtured on a true love for the human family, to raise the flag of progress, put the tyrant to the sword. Go well, fiery orator. You always took the people into your confidence, sought the counsel of the scorned, the damned, never took the food out of the mouths of children, revealed the truth to the lost, lived a simple life. Your only wealth, the accumulated victories of the dispossessed. You who survived, outlived every plot to celebrate a glorious retirement. Comandante Fidel Castro Ruz, presente. Yesterday you took your leave, absolved, acquitted, defiant to the very end, always conscious of the designs, the schemes of the empire, 90 miles across the water, never succumbing to the bribes, magnificent engineer of the new day. You have earned your right to fly free through the universe. Even as the people of the planet rise to the occasion, accept your challenge of never submitting. Farewell, Comandante Fidel. Hasta la victoria siempre.
Thank you, Sister Sala. Next up is our Sister Ninaj Raoul, Director of Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees. For nearly 20 years, Ninaj has worked as a tireless advocate for Haitian refugees, many who began their odyssey escaping persecution following the coup d'etat of Aristide in 1991. Many were arrested at sea by the U.S. Coast Guard and ended up in detention in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where Ninaj served as a Creole interpreter. And upon her return to the U.S., she helped to found Haitian Women for Haitian Refugees, assisting refugees to fight for immigrant and worker rights, work that continues today with the recent refugee crisis at the southern U.S. border, and she's here to talk a little bit about the relationship between Haiti and Cuba. Ninaj.
Good evening. I want to say a little bit about, well, I was born in Chicago to Haitian parents. Both of my parents moved to New York in the 1950s, and they met here in New York. And they were married in September of 1960. And well, they didn't have money, so they didn't have like a wedding. They just got married at the church. And afterwards, they moved to Chicago the next day because my father had gotten a job there. So the day that they got married, on the way to the airport, they went by, they were going through Harlem, and my mother lived on the Upper West Side where a lot of Haitians lived at the time. And it was the day of that meeting with Malcolm and Fidel. And the crowd was outside, and they stopped the car and got out the car, and Fidel came out on the balcony and waved, and they got back in the car and went on to the airport, moved to Chicago. So I grew up, I had the opportunity of growing up knowing about Fidel because my parents always talked about him. My mother always kept a picture in her wallet from that time of the picture of Fidel eating a hot dog that she cut out the newspaper. And I always used to say, who's that man eating a hot dog when I was little? And so, but I grew up learning, and fortunately my father decided to take us, when I was a teenager, to Cuba in 1978. And so I really appreciate that my parents, taught me and instilled certain principles in me. But Haitian people in general, Fidel has a special place in their heart because of the relationship and the history of the Caribbean. Both Haiti ousted the French in 1803. And 1804, Thomas Jefferson and the US imposed sanctions on Haiti, which lasted over 60 years. So that was a blockade, and that was an embargo. And we hear, Haiti survived that, and just the threat of a revolution to the US was a scare to all slave owners, But Haiti not only survived that, but went on to help liberate Latin America from the Spanish, despite the challenges of sanctions and war. But to this day, Haiti is still paying for that revolution and continues to be attacked by the US through military interventions, sanctions, oppressive policies, and mass deportations of Haitian refugees. Now, similarly, Cuba ousted the corrupt ruling class, the US, and their mafia. And we're going on about 60 years almost since the blockade has been going on, so you can see the clear similarities. Cuba survived because they have always continued to defend the revolution through their CDRs, through their committees to defend the revolution that are placed all over Cuba. I always wonder if, Haiti would have been different if we had CDRs. We meet in the Haitian community every Friday in forums, and whenever we're talking about the situation in Haiti, Haitian people bring up Cuba and examples of Cuba, and I always say we should have had CDRs from the beginning. That would have been different. So Fidel Castro taught so many of us around the world through his example and principles, which will live in so many of us for so many years to come. There's always going to be a struggle, but we know we won't be able to do anything as long as we won't fight for it. When I had a chance to go to the memorial in December after Fidel just passed, I learned, every time I go to Cuba, I learn so much. I go often because I go with the IFCO Pastors for Peace Caravan. And each time I see examples
and I learned of examples, and I'm always taking notes and saying, oh, this will be good for Haiti, let's take it back, and this. So, but I learned so much from hearing from the Cuban people, more about Fidel, and what the beautiful thing about it is we know how many times there were attempts to kill Fidel, especially coming from this country. But Fidel was able to do everything he had to do. I know the first thing I did was I called my mother when I learned that he had passed away. And she cried, and I was like, look, Mom, it's okay, because he did everything he had to do while he was here. But essentially, Fidel died on his own terms, you know. And I learned when I was there in December that he had said he was waiting to turn 90 to die, because that's when he knew that the youth would be able to continue the work. And that is evident when you go to Cuba and you see what's going on today. Long live the Haitian and Cuban Revolution.